Hello Chipmunk and Chipette fans, my name is Grandy Tamayas, and welcome back to another installment of Alvin and the Chipmunks Elaborations. And we're returning to the subject of AI in Alvin and the Chipmunks, but this time we actually have good news. Well, not really news anymore because I couldn't get around to covering this as quickly as last time. Work and life reasons have kept me pretty busy, and I know other Chipmunk YouTubers already beat me to this punch, like GleefulChibi and Munk Media, who both did amazing jobs covering this news, each with their own exclusive insights, so I'll link their videos in the description. But now that things have settled down, I thought I'd give my 2 cents on this matter. So first I want to mention that GleefulChibi was responsible for sharing a message that Michael Bagdasarian had sent to another fan who shared it with her. So I'm just gonna read it verbatim. There's some Alvin updates, and I wanted to send you a message Ross and Janice wanted to send out. Long overdue message, but we've been squirreling away working with creating projects and opportunities for Chipmunk fans. Janice has been working on multiple stories, but we wanted to quickly write to you to say that we are very excited to announce that we have partnered with a company that can help us create a direct link to our fans. They will be focusing on sharing our stories and programs in a way that is accessible to you all. We can't wait to start delivering our old and new Chipmunk projects along with official merchandise you all have asked for and more opportunities for fan engagement. Exciting Chipmunk opportunities lay ahead. Thank you so much for your patience. All of our gratitude, Ross and Janice. Alvin is not going to be an influencer, and we are not using AI. That version of Alvin isn't an official final look, and the video today was meant to let people know that the headshot is not how Alvin is going to look. Before I start unpacking all that, I want to share some additional quotes by Michael Bagdasarian when he was reached out to by Chris Woodley of Munk Media. Chris asked Michael what his stance is on AI, to which he responded, "I have a strong refusal to use any AI unless forced to via Google search or like Meta AI." He also reiterated that the AI-generated image of Alvin that everyone reacted to will not be Alvin's design in the reboot. And to sort of stop right there before going any further, I do want to say that I kind of always knew that it wouldn't be the final design. I know I made a big deal out of it in my last video, as everyone else did, but it wouldn't make sense to use a design so similar to a pre-existing one, since people might confuse the new reboot for coexisting in the live-action continuity. The image is something anyone could have created now that AI is accessible as it is for people to mess around with for fun. And it's clear that whatever AI generator Big Shot used to create this Alvin render was fed mostly or exclusively images of the Fox design, since those nearly 20-year-old designs are still the first thing that pops up when you Google image search Alvin and the Chipmunks. And with how inconsistent AI can be, even from the same generator, I wouldn't expect every frame of animation to maintain the same features of the design for the duration of an entire film, episode, or short-form content that we were informed about in the previous announcement. Speaking of which, I'm not sure if we can even expect short-form content anymore, at least not in the way that we were thinking, since, straight from the horse's mouth, Michael says Alvin is not going to be an influencer. Granted, those two things aren't mutually intertwined, but with how much emphasis Big Shot made about appealing to the digital-first generation and the Chipmunks appearing like influencers, that's what we were all expecting or fearing most. They could still do short-form content since we probably aren't getting another series for a while in our current age of dead network TV, but I've been saying for a while that Alvin and the Chipmunks needs more 22-minute episodes like the latter seasons of the 80s show had and the Christmas special of the CGI show. And maybe multi-parters of those to have a movie-length or near movie-length arc that would develop the series more, but I'm getting off track. Michael also responded to Chris with, quote, "I'm still learning, but know that artists worked on that image, and that my mom is currently working with dozens of artists that Big Shot has hired, and that the film is not even in production yet. We actually just made a video that I spent 2 straight days building and animating myself, haha, that was trying to confirm that the new Alvin image is not the look of the movie. I also know it's important to everyone involved to show the process going forward so that the fans are aware of the work being done and can feel good about how it's being created." And again, it feels like what we want to hear, but it is said with sincerity. With how long it's been since regular updates, I think it's right that Bagdasarian shows that they aren't cutting corners. And it seems as though Michael has even taken a good amount of the workload to do that himself, since he mentioned spending 2 straight days, about how long it was since the announcement, to make a video, making it clear that the image that has been all the buzz won't be reflective of the final product. What is this video, you may be asking, for those of you who somehow haven't seen it yet? Well, the official Alvin and the Chipmunks Instagram released this video of a text message conversation between Alvin, his brothers, and Dave, which seems to be poking fun at the situation by saying that it was the result of Alvin messing around with AI, which seems to be in character for him. A follow-up video was also posted with voice clips of Alvin arguing with Dave and Theodore.
We've got to give the people what they want. I don't think anybody wants that. Get out of here, Theodore.
Perhaps this could even hint at the new reboot having some kind of meta commentary about the use of AI in our world, which was occasionally explored in the CGI series, but the tech was still in its infancy in the real world, so it didn't seem like something worth going into further unless they were willing to take a chance that it would age like fine wine. But wait, there's more. Chris was sent this first look to share with us at a tease for the next reboot, showing a crayon drawing made by Alvin of him, his brothers, and Dave, which very much reflects the personality of his character. Granted, we don't even truly know what the character designs will look like yet, because this doesn't particularly give any indication of which chipmunk design the reboot will be most in line with, so we have no clue given the vagueness from just crayon details. Now, I presume that the chipmunks will be more on the younger side, probably not mini-monks young, but still at a point where they would still readily use crayons whenever they want to draw, and I don't think crayons will be a regular part of the aesthetic of the new reboot, like a Spider-Verse or Puss in Boots 2 art style approach, or the Mutant Mayhem Ninja Turtles. That really looks crayon drawn from most angles. You guys know how much I hate the overuse of the 2D, 3D hybrid stylizing in modern animated movies. Just give me the chipmunks in standard 3D animation. It's okay if the designs have an aesthetic like looking like We Bare Bears or having smooth shapes and proportions, but for the love of Ross Sr. in heaven, I do not want choppy frame rates and 2D effects cluttering the screen! Where was I? I suppose we can rest assured that Janice has been working with the dozens of artists that it will take to get production of the new movie even started. But with the turnaround time being only a little more than 2 years from now to make the 2028 holiday season, they're gonna have to kick things into high gear. To that end, we don't even know if they have an animation studio locked in to do the actual animation process, but with Sony distributing, my guess is, as I said before, is Sony Pictures Animation Studios. Then again, they haven't outright said that it's going to be an animated film, but I'm not so sure that they'd want to try another live-action reboot. If it is animated, though, I'm going to tentatively refer to it as Alvin and the Chipmunks 1. So don't get it confused with this one, or the original one. And we can't let it bomb at the box office, people. Sorry, still salty about that. Going back to that message from Ross and Janice, one of the biggest things that stood out to me was the mention of delivering old and new chipmunk projects, with the word old being key. The CGI series is still having seasons cycled around on streaming, so it's not exactly old, but if you're like me, your mind probably went to the Alvin show and the 80s series. Now, the latter series has been problematic to release in full due to the use of chipmunk covers of songs with copyrighted lyrics, which Bagdasarian can't redistribute due to expired licenses, many not even since their original air dates back in the 80s. But the Alvin show, on the other hand, Ross Jr. has gone on record saying that they have cleaned everything up and were waiting for the right time to re-release that since it had mostly or entirely original chipmunk music. And with the 70th anniversary coming up, I think there's no better time to re-release that. But this may not be limited to just the TV shows, as projects could include the music that has been their bread and butter. Most of the songs from the CGI series have never been released in full, and almost none of those are covers. So we could be in for a flood of old content now that Bagdasarian seems to be getting the ball rolling on that. And merchandise. Do I even need to say anything? I know Bagdasarian has been reluctant to overdo that for fear of diluting the characters and wanting to keep them special, but there is an entire dam holding back the stuff that could be made. To top it all off, the message from the Bagdasarians says that they want to create a direct link to the fans. Not quite sure what that will entail, as that could go down a very dangerous road. I can't speak for the entire Alvin and the Chipmunks fan base, but the fans I've met, especially through the community that I have fostered by doing these videos for 7 years, you guys are pretty chill. I have had the pleasure of making some really good friends through this fan base who share my mutual interest in wanting to see this franchise become something better. But I know that there are also non-fans who will still want to perpetuate the kinds of toxic behaviors that have given this franchise the misunderstood reputation that it has had since the Fox era. I guess we'll just have to wait and see on that, but with how rapid they were to take notice of fan concern, I'm feeling kind of sorry for the way that I acted in my last elaboration, and Golden. And it does make me wonder again if they know I exist and saw all that. Speaking of Golden, I brought up in that video how weird and inconsistent the official YouTube channel was, and it has since become active again. But seemingly contrary to what Michael said about using AI, the thumbnails have that weird look to them where surfaces on faces look waxy and there are inconsistencies in color, like their noses. It kind of reminds me of Brothers of Dagrak when the chipmunks all got sick. And I don't know about you, but I don't remember these magical whoosh lines, sparkles, and flying musical notes during the CGI series Christmas special. As much as this was another misguided choice, we do have an explanation for this one too. Once again, Chris made a video relaying a response from Michael, and here's what he had to say. I have heard about these, and I definitely want to make sure I'm aware of this stuff. Although sloppy, those mistakes are human-made errors. But the response to the fans who reached out was that the human errors of eye colors and different clothes were actually from TV models and ads that Technicolor did. We are working on it, but it is taking a second to get the artists to come in and redo it. And of course, Chris provides some examples from the show of instances where the models had inconsistencies like eye direction and clipping geometry. So whatever tools their social media team used to enhance things like the contrast, shadows, and effects only accentuated pre-existing errors and ones that were otherwise unnoticeable. And now that we know that this is in the process of getting fixed, I do at the very least want to express that I don't see what the point is in redoing those thumbnails for older videos when the ones before were cleaner and, in my opinion, much more informative of what the videos were about. And knowing that the Bagdasarian family weren't behind this kind of makes me look stupid for assuming before that they didn't even have a social media team. So I suppose this could also explain the Golden incident, seeing as how Bagdasarian have their hands full with the story direction of the 2028 movie and all the big shot stuff. But it is very heartwarming to know that the Bagdasarian family themselves are against using AI. Alvin and the Chipmunks have been around for longer than most other big pop culture franchises, and ones that have lost their touch due to being put in the hands of people who don't have the integrity of the property at heart. Ahem. And for all the people who only hopped on the Chipmunk hate train because they had this new AI incident as ammo, I'd just like to say, you people are sick for wanting this nearly 70-year-old franchise to completely die. I wouldn't wish death by AI mishandling or corporate mishandling on a franchise you love, no matter how disinterested I am in it. We can all respect and appreciate the hard human work that goes into the art that we love, and I'd still be saying that even if we didn't have AI to work against us. So the fact that a member of the family who created and owns these characters says that they intend to make this new Chipmunk reboot without AI should be a big win for all of us, really. I might still end up having my own problems with the reboot when it eventually arrives. We'll just have to wait and see. But as long as I know that there were people behind it who cared, I can't stay mad at them. That's not to say that I'll agree with every decision that they make. You guys know me, I'm not one to follow something blindly. So I still hold that having too much Bagdasarian control can make the franchise feel very one-note. It's for that reason that I have criticized Bagdasarian Productions for everything from the lack of other Chipmunks following the 80s era, to the general writing of the main characters, to poor decisions on the legal ends of things. But I say that stuff out of love because I am still firmly on their side. So I hope that they've learned from the lessons of the past so that they can make this reboot the best that it can be by hiring the right people who care about telling a good Alvin and the Chipmunks story. It's not impossible, no matter how many naysayers say this franchise can't or should never be relevant. And in the end, I hope that these artists that Big Shot and Bagdasarian are working with will be appreciated, because unlike AI, artists benefit from being appreciated and it makes them better at what they do. That's the human connection that AI can never make. Feel free to let me know in the comments. Do the new statements from the Bagdasarians give you confidence in the next reboot? And what are you hoping for in regards to what the new art talent that they're hiring will be able to bring to the table? Don't forget that if you want to follow me outside of my videos, you can join my Discord server or follow me on Twitter. Links to both will be in the description. And if you would like to leave a suggestion for a topic of a future Alvin and the Chipmunks elaboration video, you can leave that in the comments as well. With all that said, I hope you enjoyed. Have a nice day, and thank you for your time.